The Stars and Stripes show is brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world, and welcome to another episode of the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM, hashtag Shared Health, and of course, hashtag America in Botswana. On our show today is actually dedicated to exploring the diverse facets of the bilateral relationship between Botswana and the United States. And today we have a very special theme to discuss. It's all about recognizing and, of course, appreciating the incredible work that the Peace Corps in the field of HIV and AIDS has been doing. And of course, we can explore the inspiring narratives of the Peace Corps volunteers have dedicated themselves to raising awareness and delivering education and providing assistance to individuals impacted with HIV and AIDS in Botswana. And of course, in alignment with the objective of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, otherwise known as PEPFAR. And of course, for the Meet America policy discussion, I hope I don't butcher her name. I'm going to do my best, okay? I know you feel me. You feel me living in a foreign country, I know. And of course, we're speaking to Amy Panastes. Did I get it?
Close enough.
Close enough. Forgive me, okay?
Thank you.
How are you, Amy? How's your week been?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Swift.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for taking time to, obviously engage with us. Let's start with who Amy is. Kindly introduce yourself, and of course the mandate that you hold, or rather the portfolio you hold with the U.S. Embassy.
Yeah. Thanks, Swift. My name is Amy Patanasant, and I'm the Director of Programming and Training at Peace Corps Botswana. Mo Botswana, ke bidiwa Teboho.
Oh, Tebza. I can call you Tebza. Thank you so much.
You can call me Tebza.
Why didn't you say that in the beginning?
I just wanted to make you sweat a little.
Okay. No, I am sweating, but thank you, Tebza. Welcome to the show. You can continue.
Thanks. So Peace Corps is an American volunteer organization that works across the world to bring American volunteers to countries to support government initiatives and government priorities. And in Botswana, specifically, as you mentioned, we're here working at the invitation of the government of Botswana on the HIV response. So working in the health field and working with youth in schools on HIV prevention.
So that is one of the most important components of our relationship, especially in line with the Peace Corps. I mean, the Peace Corps has done so much for so many years within the Republic of Botswana. And what I like about this particular relationship between the U.S. government and the BW government is that, it allows us to take advantage of skilled labor from the United States, people that hold different or come from different walks of life and hold different, levels of skills. Let's talk about which areas does Botswana focus on between this relationship?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we bring skilled individuals to come and volunteer in communities. But really what I love about Peace Corps is that while we bring these skills, we really leverage the existing strengths and existing resources in communities to bring those to light and to bring people together and to really amplify those. And
Absolutely.
So in communities, we're working on HIV prevention. We're working on life skills education, giving youth the confidence to be able to stand up and say no, or to give consent, to have accurate health information. And our volunteer, Jane, will talk a little bit more about her work, and Lebo will expand later. But those are some of the areas in which we're working in. And then on top of that, Peace Corps is not just about the technical work that we do.
Yep.
The overall mission of Peace Corps is to promote world peace and friendship. And that, I think, underpins all that we do here in country and around the world. And really, it's about those people-to-people connections and relationships, and seeing each other as humans and really building that foundation of world peace and friendship.
Well, that's fantastic. It's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. And of course, you're on the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM. And of course, we're talking the great work that the Peace Corps, and of course, appreciating their voluntary work in line with HIV and AIDS. And of course, let me ask you this question. COVID-19 impacted the world, whether we like it or not. The government of the U.S. government was impacted. The BW government was impacted. And we within the Republic of Botswana haven't had Peace Corps volunteers in a very, very long time. How has this affected some of your projects within the country?
So COVID was a very sad time for us in Botswana, but not all was lost during COVID. While we did not have Peace Corps volunteers in country, we did have our dedicated staff continuing a lot of the amazing projects that they did working in communities and helping to fill some of those gaps. And so we continued our gender awareness work. We continued with activities such as grassroots soccer to engage youth.
I like that.
Really making sure that the communities that volunteers weren't in were still receiving some of the important information that Peace Corps can bring. We also started a virtual program in Botswana that is now global,
Wow.
allowing returned Peace Corps volunteers who had to leave countries to be able to continue to work with partners on the ground to meet some of their needs. So I am very happy to announce, however, that while we do have Peace Corps volunteers, a few Peace Corps volunteers on the ground, just this week we did receive 28 new Peace Corps trainees.
Wow. Within country?
Within country, so we are
Fantastic.
getting back up to speed.
Look, let's face it, it's two different worlds. Coming to Botswana for the first time can offer, a little bit of a culture shock. I mean, it's a totally different world to the United States. What kind of training do you invest in or, of course, offer some of your Peace Corps volunteers in order to understand rona re bo mang, as in who we are? What does that mean? Our culture, culture is very diverse. You can't, in Setswana culture, you cannot just talk loud and shout at somebody older than you. It can be, read very differently. Talk to me.
Erra. So our volunteers go through an extensive 11-week training period.
11 weeks.
Erra, 11 weeks.
Wow.
Where they undergo Setswana language training every single day.
Okay.
Including language, but culture, learning about customs and what is appropriate and what is not appropriate in Botswana. They also go through technical training to learn more about the technical sector in which they'll be working in.
Nice.
As well as information about how to stay healthy and safe while working in Botswana.
Fantastic. Let me offer you this opportunity to share your parting statement. Is there anything else from your vantage point and from the great work that you're doing from a programming perspective that you'd like to share with the nation of Botswana?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you to all of our communities for hosting our volunteers and for being amazing partners. We do this work in service of our communities and we love engaging our communities. And so please continue to open your arms to our volunteers and we will be of service in however we can.
Well, fantastic. That is Tebogo Amy Patanase from the U.S. Embassy. She obviously plays a critical role in terms of the Peace Corps as the Director of Programming and Training. And of course, on the other side of this, it's only right that we hear from a Peace Corps volunteer from the U.S. who's been part and parcel of our communities and obviously get to understand her experience with it. Look out for it coming your way. It's Gabs FM, power to engage your world, none other than ATI. I call him the Jimi Hendrix of our time. This one is titled After Dawn. 12:22 is your time. And if you're wondering where Samantha is, she's out at the Botswana Consumer Fair. And of course, she'll be joining us just after 1 p.m. when I cross over to that side of the world. But moving swiftly along, pun intended, welcome to the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy. And of course, I have a good friend of mine. She is in the building. She goes by the name of Jane. She has her own Setswana name. I'll allow her to introduce herself, but she is a Peace Corps volunteer. How are you, Jane? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. So, like you said, Kasikoa, my name is Jane. Me Kasetswana ke bidua mawana.
Wow.
Yes.
Can I ask you this question, Jane? When did you start and when was your first introduction to the language of Setswana?
Well, I arrived in Botswana September 1st.
Okay.
A year ago. So
A year ago.
It's been
Wow.
exactly a year.
Wow. Today, actually.
Today, yes.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And I could definitely do better with the language.
Yes.
I'm always learning.
Uh-huh.
But we received a lot of training with language
Fantastic.
right
man.
off the bat. The first week we were here,
Yeah.
they had us in the language classes so that we could talk and introduce ourselves and all of that.
Fantastic. Look, let me get an understanding and let's backtrack. You're from the United States. Which part of the U.S. are you from? What did you do in the U.S.?
Sure. So I'm from Texas.
Okay, nice.
Right in the South.
Yeah.
So the climate is really similar.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
At least, because the heat
Yes.
is hectic. Okay.
I got my degree in nutrition.
Oh, wow.
And I had a minor in medical ethics.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Wow.
So I do have a health background. And before Peace Corps, I spent a year serving in AmeriCorps, which is kind of a similar program, except it operates domestically in the U.S.
So leaving Texas, let's talk about why you'd leave the comfort of, your home in the United States. And of course, there's so many places in the world to go and decide that, look, I want to make a difference. I want to come and work with people within the Republic of Botswana. Walk us through your why.
Sure. So I applied for Peace Corps a long time ago before COVID.
Wow.
So I've been knowing that I'm coming to Botswana for a long time, and I had a lot of time to prepare and to, know that when I get here, the first thing I want is seswa and poleche. Like,
Wow.
I know.
You're my new best friend. And I got to ask you, Texas beef or BW beef?
That's a hard question. I don't think I can answer that one without upsetting some folks.
Plead the fifth, okay? It's okay.
Plead the fifth.
Yeah, that's okay. Walk us through your journey within Botswana.
Sure.
How was that experience for you?
Right. So again, in Texas, the climate's similar. So it was really hot. And then I came here September 1st and it was already hot.
Yeah.
It was already hot.
I like that.
So I had a year of summer. But I got here September 1st. And then like Amy was saying, we had 11 weeks of training. And then we went to our communities. And right when we got there, obviously we don't really know how the community works, how the inner workings are.
Absolutely.
So we spent 3 months doing what's called a community assessment, where we talk to a lot of community members, our neighbors, the police. We go to the kotla and meet the Dekosi,
Yeah.
and that's just to kind of figure out, what organizations are in our communities, and where we can kind of work with them there.
So let's touch on, where were you posted within the Republic of Botswana? Okay, let's move along swiftly. What are some of your first time impressions with regards to being within and obviously interacting with our culture?
Sure. So one of the first things I noticed was how friendly people were. Early on, we were introduced to our host families, and they were just so excited, incredibly happy to receive us because,
Fantastic.
Their Peace Corps volunteers were gone for a long time because of COVID. So
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
everyone was happy we were back.
Okay, and the comparison, the contrast between your life in the United States and, of course, being within Botswana?
Sure. I think it's so hard to make a comparison because things are so different. But like I said, the climate is similar. People are nice. I think everyone is just trying to do their best and make the most of their life. And I would say obviously there are some things that are different. The language is different. Setswana is different.
Yeah.
The work style is a little different. But overall, there were some similarities that I picked up on that really have made my time here worthwhile.
Absolutely. Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. If you've just joined us, welcome to the show. And of course, you're on the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM. Look, Jane, let's touch on one thing. And, you've got a unique skill set in line with nutrition, which I think is such a great skill set to have. Let's talk about how you're using that skill set to contribute to the lives of Botswana through the Peace Corps.
Sure. So my bachelor's is in nutrition, and I also have training as a community health worker. I have a licensure in Texas. So I have a health background, and that is really helpful while I'm here because obviously we're working sort of in the HIV field. So when I meet people, I'm able to approach them with an understanding of sort of the overall health atmosphere, I would say. But most of my work, like Amy was saying, is just kind of making connections that already exist in my community. between different offices. So I work in the DAC office, the District AIDS Coordinator office, and I work a lot with the DHMT. I work a lot with other organizations because all of these offices are extremely busy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, but I'm in a great position to say, hey, you guys have similar goals. Let's work together. Let's find out how we can merge this so that it benefits the community.
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. Is there any last words you'd like to share with the nation? Thank you so much for the great work you're doing on behalf of Botswana. We appreciate the great work that you're doing. I think it takes a superhuman being to leave the comforts of their home and decide, you know what, I'm going to try and make a difference within, outside of your own country.
I just love being here. It's really a great experience. Thank you for having me here today. And I just want to say, Ke rata Botswana.
Fantastic. 12:30 is your time across the nation. We apologize for there's been some drilling that's happening downstairs. Would like to sincerely apologize for that sound pollution, for lack of a better word. But we're going to continue conversation on the other side of this. We're going to continue with the partner spotlight, and let's hear from the voice of the Botswana. Good afternoon.
The Stars and Stripes show is brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. And off topic, we're just discussing with Botswana, or should we not revive some of our volunteerism? Do we still have the spirit of volunteerism? And that's one of my, I must be honest, that is one of my favorite thing about the U.S. culture is that, you know, it's ingrained within the culture, within the American culture is volunteerism. Whether you are the U.S. president or whether you're a part of the Senate, you must have gone through a number of hours of volunteerism, and that's something that we as Botswana need to obviously move forward to and engage. Talk to me.
Yeah, that's actually something that we're looking to partner with in Botswana. There is
nice.
already a very strong national service, and
Yes.
we really want to leverage that and build on that and build that sense of volunteerism in Botswana.
Absolutely. I think in the Republic of Swift and Poloka, if you're in primary or high school, you should volunteer, period. But that is in my other hat that I wear in my, you know, when I fantasize about being a benevolent dictator, but I'm not, okay?
I support the volunteerism,
Okay.
not the benevolent.
Okay, just the
part.
one component of the Republic of Swift and Poloka. But moving swiftly along, pun intended. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue conversation, and it's such an important conversation to hear from the voice of the Botswana. Lebza, how are you, and welcome to the show.
I'm good, Swift. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Tell me, what is your what title do you hold in the name of your organization?
I'm the HIV and grant specialist at Peace Corps.
Oh, at Peace Corps.
Yes.
Wow. So you've been part and parcel of, you know, this journey. I think Peace Corps is an amazing, amazing initiative. And it goes to show the kind of impact and the importance of collaboration. I think that's something that we take for granted, you know? Walk us through your portfolio and your everyday, what you do in terms of your mandate with Peace Corps.
I mean, I like what Amy said about this beautiful organization that I work for. It's just a lot of things that we do. And then I also like what James said, you know, borrowing from what the volunteers do. But we do have staff. We have incredible staff members that work behind the bars, you know, in terms of running the day-to-day works at Peace Corps, doing policies, doing, you know, volunteer support and all of those things. But back to your question.
Yes.
I'm actually running HIV programming in terms of linking it, you know, making sure that the organization, whatever we do, has that HIV component. Remember, Remohai called us here to do HIV work. So
Yes.
I make sure that actually that happens. We don't veer away from our mandate because, you know, when we are programming, sometimes we can get excited and do other things and forget why we are here.
Absolutely.
I also am responsible for, as part of volunteer support, we do have very little pot of funds that we support our volunteers with in terms of their passion in communities. So I'm the one responsible for dispersing and, you know, working with our volunteers on that. as well as the beautiful program called Dreams. I really love it.
Yes, Dreams is a fantastic
I'm
program.
a Dreams person at Peace Corps.
Wow.
Yes.
Dreams is one framework that I think, we as Botswana, within both the private sector and public sector, we could really, really learn a lot from that program. I think it is a great program. Look, one thing that I do know is that today is the start of the month of prayer against AIDS and non-communicable diseases, road traffic accidents, and a lot more. This year's themes is a prayerful youth, the getaway to a healthy lifestyle. In your view, how pivotal is it for the youth to play their role in mitigating and understanding the impact of HIV and AIDS? Whether we like it or not, the war's not over. Look, the Republic of Botswana and the US government have done a phenomenal work, but the war's not over. What is your view on that?
Yeah, very true. Youth are the integral part of HIV programming. So there is no how we can move forward without necessarily engaging them, consulting with them, and sitting down and hearing what their thoughts and views are. They are the current decision makers. I wouldn't say they are future leaders. I'd say they are
the
our
current. Yeah, I like
yes.
that.
They are the current working class, so they are decision makers even at the economy level. So it's really important to engage with them. And it's a fact. When we talk about drivers of the epidemic, youth are the integral part of that because of the lifestyles that youth live, both young men and young women.
Absolutely.
Talking about multi-concurrent relationships, talking about money issues. Money is very key.
Zaka. Yes, absolutely.
At the time of their life. So they're really vulnerable, even economically. So it really boils back to HIV. And when we're talking about healthy lifestyles, the economy itself, linkages and referral to services, we're really talking about youth. How does it look like? Risky behaviors, for example, we always often hear a lot of time about alcohol and drug abuse. We cannot divorce it from HIV. We hear about issues, HIV or health risk issues that are addressed in hotspots, be it in schools, in bars, in public areas. We find youth in those spaces. And obviously, like I talked about, linkages and referral to health issues. When you go to health services, the service points are presented with a lot of youth. So there is no how we can divorce them from that. So it's very, very key that we engage them in order for them to tell them how is it to be a young person at this point. The way we are raised, all of us here, is different from the generation we are raising now.
Absolutely, you can say that again.
Yeah, internet, your Facebook and social media kind of youth. So it's a different population, and HIV, it presents new challenges all the time. So we need to hear from them. We need to engage them as we go about.
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. And if you've just joined us, welcome to the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM. And of course, today's show theme is the Peace Corps and appreciating voluntary work within the HIV and AIDS initiative. And of course, this show also includes the great work that PEPFAR is doing within the Republic of Botswana. Look, let's talk more about programming. You did mention that, and you did touch on it briefly in terms of your programming that speaks to vulnerable communities. Can you tell us more about the Peace HIV programming?
Yeah, Amy touched on it a bit and
Yes.
what we do as an organization. So I'll just go about to say, how do we program at Peace Corps? Our volunteers are placed in different areas. We place them in with district health management teams, which is very key in our districts. Mind you, we put our volunteers in the remotest areas in Botswana. So that's our...
Ko magaeng.
Ko magaeng, ko bathong.
Ora rona bo Swift a re ka kra khona kana nna ke mfano a trop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we put them in far to reach areas because we want the ordinary Motswana.
impact, yes.
Exactly. We want the likes of Moana to impact our ordinary young person in Zoroha, in your Eta, far away places. So our projects largely, they're very diverse in terms of, we do organizational development, system strengthening. And mind you, at those places, we have civil society organizations that really need strengthening. You'd find that there are young people who are very passionate about what they do, and then they don't have the drive or they don't have the resources. So that's where we get in to say, we kick that drive and we do help them to link them to resources as well. And we also help celebrate, days like World AIDS Day, empowering youth, support groups. We also contribute to teen clubs, which is very key in HIV programming. And then we also talk about or help organizational profiling as well as proposal writing, where our volunteers might be having those skills. And we also work with in-school youth to drive life skills education. We don't only drive it in schools, but we also do it with out-of-school activities. Not forgetting GBV, gender-based violence.
Absolutely.
As well as trainings around gender-based violence. One thing that I like about this organization, we don't only work with volunteers, we also work with community counterparts. They pick people in the communities that are very passionate about what they do, and we make sure we train those people and we make them at par with our volunteers.
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. And of course, we're profiling the great work that the Peace Corps is doing within the Republic of Botswana in line with combating HIV and AIDS. Lebo, let me ask you this last question. Bana ba rona sort of gravitate to different things. Baba about sports, for example. Sport is an important component. I've also seen through dreams that, life skills, soft skills, those are, we can underestimate the importance of soft skills, especially from Bana ba rona staying in rural communities. We can underestimate. Sometimes we're growing up with the privilege of internet. We're growing up with the privilege of the World Wide Web. What else do you do within your portfolio that speaks to, sport and life skills?
Even before Dreams, I think we've been doing really great in terms of sport and life skills. So when Dreams was coined, it was infused in Dreams programming. So we have a program called Grassroots Soccer, a very interesting program. Mind you, I said earlier that our young people are so different from our time.
Yes.
So they get bored easily. So things like Grassroots Soccer, you don't sit them down and workshop them like the traditional one. We do HIV prevention through soccer-based methodology called Grassroots Soccer. We also have what we call Life Skills Plus. Life Skills Plus is also an HIV prevention program. It touches on the general life skills. It touches on economic empowerment. When you talk about HIV, you get people bored. So there's something to give in terms of what can we do as young people? So that's why economic empowerment was invested into the program Life Skills Plus. We also support the government of Botswana through schools with the living curricula, which is part of our day-to-day school curricula. So our volunteers do pair with teachers in terms of driving that one. And then we also have other trainings, like our gender trainings consist of SASA. SASA is another methodology. It's a community mobilization methodology. We do have In Her Shoes, as well as train on engaging men and boys, because, people always complain. You have the girl child always by your side. How about the boys? So we also do engaging men and boys programming.
Fantastic. Well, Lebo, I can honestly say the work you're doing on behalf of Botswana, thank you so much. That's amazing work. Totaela Ronez Botswana, you can tell that there is the desire to beat the HIV and AIDS, epidemic within the Republic of Botswana. As one of Botswana, what would be your closing statement? What would you say to our young people, especially our youth? I think that's one thing that we've seen due to, I would say, economic factors, that, young people are still, especially young girls, are being infected still today. What would you say in closing to Bana ba rona as somebody who serves as a foot soldier against the epidemic?
I'd really say HIV is still there. It's eminent in communities that we live in. And I'd say, sometimes we forget the people that are really far from gaps. So as Peace Corps, we try as much to reach those ones out. And to say to a young person out there, you are worthy. And please do take advantage of Peace Corps as we are here. Take advantage of the likes of Moana. And I know a lot of young people, they they really spend time with these American volunteers. They come with different experiences.
Yeah,
how is it
absolutely.
to be, a young person in Texas? How similar is it to be a young person in Botswana? So I'd just say, please take advantage of the organization while it's still here. Take advantage of the volunteers that are here in order for them to, give us skills and impart knowledge, different kind of knowledge. And we know they're tech savvy. We know they are social media savvy. So I urge the young people out there to really take advantage of that.
Well, I also too. Amy, let me ask you one last question. In the event that an organization would like to get their own Peace Corps volunteer, a local VDC, how do we engage your office in terms of facilitating to say, look, how can we obviously engage you to get Peace Corps volunteers for other organizations and communities within Botswana?
Yeah, thank you, Swift. Please check out our social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. You can reach us through that.
Okay.
And we love hearing from VDCs. We love hearing from organizations about how we can better partner to advance our shared goals.
Absolutely. Well, that's how we continue conversation. On the other side of this, we'll be touching on Education USA and what is happening within the Mandela Washington Fellowship. We'll be touching on that. Let me tell you something. You want to like, share, and interact with the U.S. Embassy and all their social media platforms, because there will always be opportunity for us to collaborate. The American people do believe in the art of collaboration, and this is how we can ensure that we have a better Botswana. Good afternoon. It's Gabs FM, power to engage. Well, what a smooth, soulful joint. This one is Casper Nyove teaming up with something Soweto. Says Friday night. Aresh. Moto waka, give me no stress. 12:51 is your time, and of course you're still on the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy. And let me tell you something, it's official. The Mandela Washington Fellowship is open, and it brings together 700 young leaders to the United States in the summer of 2024, and of course spilling over into 2024, forgive me, for a comprehensive executive style program that is designed to build skills and empower fellows to lead in their respective sectors and of course communities. Feel free to go to mandelawashingtonfellowship.com and you can get further details on how you can apply for that. Remember, applications officially opened on August 15, 2023 and will close on the 12th of September 2023. Feel free to engage the U.S. Embassy on all social media platforms to understand some of the selection process and criteria. The Mandela Washington Fellowship selection process is a merit-based open competition. After the deadline, independent readers will review all eligible applications. Following this review, chosen semi-finalists will be interviewed by the U.S. Embassy or consulates in their home country. So if you're a young person and you believe that this is something that can change your life, feel free to engage the U.S. Embassy. And let me tell you something, it allows for a great networking opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Friday and I'm about to move out of the studio. I'm going to go to the consumer fair where the Gabs FM team is out there and of course join Samantha Moa. This one is Ice Cube. He says it was a good day.
The Stars and Stripes show was brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.